right, back to weather, and Marty is here now in the Weather Center, and today you might be wearing your flip-flops, but you're going to have to trade those out for maybe some snowshoes.
I think everybody should in their car just have like everything from the snowsuit that the kid on the Christmas Story wore to,
yes,
you know, like sandals and flip-flops and,
exactly.
and shorts.
Just always be prepared, right?
Yeah, and sometimes on the same day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is Colorado after all, right?
Yeah, and March tends to be that way. And you know, it's not going to be that bad because this storm is actually kind of spring-like. It's not as cold as some of the more recent ones we've had. But,
got it.
But the changes are coming.
Oh, boy.
No doubt about it. Right now, Monument in the 60s. It's a little breezy, just a few clouds off in the distance there. This is an area where we're expecting a pretty good snow out of this system, and it might start as early as about this time tomorrow evening, actually. So we're not too far away from that. Futurecast shows that for the rest of the night tonight, yeah, more of the same really through about midnight or so. We'll have a mostly clear sky, and then I think after midnight the clouds will start to thicken up a little bit, and I'm hopeful that we'll have enough around and not too many around tomorrow morning so that we can get a real pretty sunrise. Nice start to the day tomorrow. And the temperatures aren't going to be bad tonight, with many areas probably staying in the 40s for most of the night, but we may dip into the 30s briefly here along the Front Range. Some low-lying spots, a few mountain areas could get a little bit cooler, but this is going to be a pretty nice night for this time of year. And then tomorrow we start to see some scattered rain and snow showers up along the I-70 corridor to the west of Denver. I think we're going to have a little bit cooler air in the area tomorrow. Just a shallow layer of cooler air is going to kind of sneak in. It might knock our temperatures back 10 to 12 degrees, so it won't be quite as warm as today. I think more than anything you're going to notice the clouds thickening up, and I actually think Futurecast is underdoing the cloud cover out across the plains. I do think we'll wrap up the afternoon under a mostly cloudy sky. And by 4 o'clock, the first of the scattered rain and snow showers will be developing over and near the mountains. But prior to that time, I think we'll be fine. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s, still doing pretty well in that regard for this time of year across the plains. Yeah, we'll start to see the colder stuff up across the higher terrain with a mixture of 30s and 40s. And then as we move into tomorrow evening, I think precipitation will start to break out and get pretty widespread, say between Colorado Springs and Denver. And initially, where it does snow, it's going to be a pretty wet snow, so hopefully most of us will get through the evening commute without too much trouble. But we could have reduced visibility under some bursts of heavier snow as we head into the latter half of tomorrow evening. Of course, up in Teller County, and anybody who's up high enough, the snow can stick a little faster, and so it might be at least a little slushy at some point during the evening commute. And through about midnight or so, it looks like we'll keep most of this north of the Arkansas River or in a scattered fashion over the higher terrain south and west of Pueblo. Notice some of this is coming down as rain on the lower elevations where you see the greens and the yellows on the map, but some of that could be some heavy rain, really helpful precipitation. The coldest air then filters in after midnight tomorrow night and shoves everything farther to the south, turns a lot of it over to snow. We'll probably have a mixture of rain and snow between Canyon City and Pueblo, and as you get out farther east along the Arkansas River through at least 9 o'clock tomorrow morning anyway, most of that's probably going to be rain. And so because this is a more spring-like storm, the heavier precipitation as far as snowfall accumulations go should be confined to the higher terrain around both Colorado Springs and Pueblo, but that's not to say we couldn't pick up several inches of wet snow on especially cooler surfaces around Colorado Springs. And right now our models are showing between about 2 and 5 inches across town, with the heavier amounts greater than 6 inches confined to the higher terrain along the Palmer Divide and up into Teller County. So this is going to be a pretty good spring storm for us, and we haven't seen a storm quite like this with the likely wet snow that we're going to have in quite some time. And we'll likely have some pretty hefty amounts of snow on the higher terrain south and west of Pueblo too. It might take a little longer to get going there. I don't think right along the river we're going to see all that much. It's just a little too warm and has been today, and we'll have a lot of melting of any wet snow that does fall for those areas. It's out of here by Friday, and then we get a nice little stretch of a warm-up here through about Sunday or so. Then the next one gets here Sunday night into early next week, and that's a long ways off, so I won't say too much more about that, other than we're going to get colder and probably have some rain and snow. Teller County will end up, again, picking up some decent snowfall into the day on Thursday with highs only in the 30s. We're back up into the 50s on Sunday before the next round gets here. Pueblo, a mixture of rain and snow. It could turn over to wet snow for a while. I think we'll really limit the accumulations of snow just because it's a warm system. But you should pick up some pretty good rainfall, or at least liquid equivalent moisture coming out of the sky. Could be back up to 70 with some wind on Sunday before maybe some thunderstorms coming on Monday. Canyon City, we get 60s tomorrow, 40-ish or so on Thursday. Yeah, it might have a little bit of accumulating snow, especially on the cooler surfaces. And we're back up into the 60s on Sunday before the next one gets here. Ladies, back to you.